Section 1 of Elementary Catechism on the Constitution of the United States, for the use of schools, by Arthur Joseph Stansbury. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Part 1. Question. In what country do you live? Answer. In the United States of America. Question. Why is this country called the United States? Answer. Because it is made up of a number of states which were once separate, but afterwards agreed to unite together. Question. What do you mean by a state? Answer. I mean any district of country whose people are all under one government. Question. Had then the different states which united together each a government of its own? Answer. Yes, but they agreed to put themselves all under one general government. Question. Why did they do this? Answer. Because it would promote their general welfare. Question. Is some government necessary in every country? Answer. Certainly. Without it nobody would be safe, not only our property, but our lives would be in danger. Question. Cannot all the people of a country govern themselves? Answer. If every man was perfectly virtuous and knew what would be best for himself and others, they might. But this is far from being the case, and therefore the people of every country are and must be governed. Question. How is this done? Answer. Laws are made which all must obey. Whoever disobeys them is punished. Question. Who makes these laws? Answer. They are made in different ways, under different governments. In some countries, a single man makes the laws according to his own pleasure. Question. What is such a government called? Answer. A despotism, or absolute monarchy, and the person who thus rules is a despot, or absolute monarch. In other states, a certain number of persons belonging to ancient or wealthy families make the laws. Question. What is such a government styled? Answer. An aristocracy or oligarchy. In other cases, the people themselves meet to make the laws. This is called a pure democracy. Question. A state must be very small where all the people can meet in one assembly. Answer. This form of government is only suited to a small city, or rather village, and can never take place in a state of any extent. Other form remains, that is, where the people, too numerous to meet, themselves choose certain of their own number to meet for them. This is called a representative government, because those who meet represent all the rest. It is also called a republic. Question. Which of these ways of governing a nation is the best? Answer. The last. A country thus ruled is said to be free, or to enjoy liberty, but where a single man may make what laws he pleases, and all the rest must obey them, the people are no better than slaves. Question. Why do they obey him? Answer. Because he has an army of soldiers, whom he pays, and who force the people to obedience. Question. Cannot they raise an army too, and resist him? Answer. This has sometimes been done, and after much bloodshed and confusion, the people have partially succeeded, but they have more frequently failed, and then they were more oppressed than before. Question. How is this country governed? Answer. It is a republic, and it is governed by persons whom the people choose from time to make the laws. Question. Was it always a republic? Answer. No, the states were formerly colonies. Question. What do you mean by colonies? Answer. When a part of the people of a nation remove to some distant place, where they settle, but still continue to be governed by the nation from which they came out, these new settlements are called colonies, and the country which governs them is called the mother country. Question. By what nation were the American colonies governed? Answer. By Great Britain. Most of the people who first settled this country came from England, Scotland, or Ireland, which three countries make up Great Britain, and long after they had settled here, continued to be governed by laws, most of which were made in England. Question. Were these laws good or wise? Answer. Many of them were, and for a time the colonies were perhaps better off than if they had entirely governed themselves, because though Great Britain did rule them, she also gave them protection by her fleets and did many things for their advantage. But afterwards very unwise and unjust laws were made, and such as threatened to destroy all liberty in the colonies. Question. What did the colonies do then? Answer. They made complaints, and reasoned for a long time with Great Britain, trying to persuade her to act more justly. Question. Did Great Britain listen to their complaints and repeal those bad laws? Answer. No, but instead of that, sent over ships and soldiers to force us to obey them. Question. And did we obey? Answer. No. The people of the colonies consulted with each other what was to be done, and at length took up arms, raised such armies as they could, and though they had few soldiers, no experienced officers, and but little money, they carried on a war against the whole power of Great Britain, and having, with the aid from France, forced 2 British armies to lay down their arms and surrender themselves prisoners, they at length compelled Great Britain to acknowledge their independence. Question. What do you mean by that? Answer. I mean that she was compelled to consent that all those colonies, which had before been governed by laws made for them by her, should after that have liberty to make laws for themselves and to obey her no more. Question. When we speak of this war, what do we call it? Answer. We call it the American Revolution. Question. What do you mean by a revolution? Answer. A revolution means some great change of government, and we ought ever to remember ours with ardent gratitude to God for so great a blessing, and with lasting love and reverence for those good, wise, and brave men who went through such dangers and sufferings that their country might be free. Question. When and where did the War of the Revolution begin? Answer. At Lexington and Concord, villages near Boston in Massachusetts, on the 19th of April, 1775. Question. How long did the struggle continue? Answer. More than 7 years. Question. When did it end? Answer. On the 21st of January, 1783, when a treaty was signed at Paris acknowledging the independence of the United States. Question. Why is the 4th of July kept with such public rejoicing through all parts of the United States? Answer. Because on the 4th of July, 1776, the colonies first declared themselves free and independent. From that day the independence of the country is reckoned in all our public proceedings, though it was not acknowledged by Great Britain till 1783. Question. What was the change produced by the Revolution? Answer. The different colonies became each a free state, having power to govern itself in any way it should think proper. Question. Had not one state any power over the other? Answer. None at all, and the several states might have remained entirely distinct countries, as much as France and Spain. Question. Did they? Answer. No. Having been led to unite together to help each other in the war, they soon began to find that it would be much better for each of them that they should all continue united in its farther prosecution, and accordingly they entered into an agreement which was called a confederation, in which they made some laws which they all agreed to obey, but after their independence was obtained, finding the defects of this plan, they called a convention in which they laid a complete plan for uniting all the states under one general government. This plan is called the Federal Constitution. On this great plan, or Constitution, the safety and happiness of the United States does, under Almighty God, mainly depend. All our laws are made by its direction or authority. Whoever goes contrary to it injures and betrays his country, injures you, injures me, betrays us all, and is deserving of the heaviest punishment. Whoever, on the contrary, loves and keeps it sacred, is his country's friend, secures his own safety, and farthers the happiness of all around him. Let every American learn from his earliest years to love, cherish, and obey the Constitution. Without this he can neither be a great or a good citizen. Without this his name will never be engraved with honor in the pages of our history, nor transmitted, like that of Washington, with praisings and blessings to a late posterity. Question. You say that in a republic the laws are made by certain persons whom the people choose for that purpose. Who makes the laws in our republic? Answer. The laws which concern only one of the states are made by persons chosen by the people of that state, and who, when met, are called the legislature, the General Assembly, or the General Court of that particular state. Those, for instance, who make laws which concern only the state of New York are called the legislature of the state of New York. Those who make laws which concern only the state of Massachusetts are called the General Court of Massachusetts. But laws which concern all the states or more states than one are made by the Congress of the United States. Question. But even if the Congress itself should make a law which is contrary to the Constitution, must the people obey it? Answer. No. Question. Who is to determine whether any law is contrary to the Constitution or no? The people themselves? Answer. No, but certain persons whom they have appointed, called judges of the Supreme Court of the United States. Question. Do the members of the Congress of the United States all meet together in one assembly when they make the laws? Answer. No. They meet in two separate assemblies, one of which is called the Senate and the other is called the House of Representatives. Question. Who choose the persons who shall be members of the House of Representatives? Answer. The people of all the different states, because the laws of Congress concern all the states and must be obeyed by all the people of this republic. Question. Have boys a right to choose them? Answer. No. Boys are too young. Question. Are any other persons unfit? Answer. Yes. Question. How is it determined who may and who may not choose them? Answer. By the laws of each state. Whoever is allowed to choose the members of the legislature of any state is also allowed by the Constitution to choose members of the House of Representatives of the United States. Some states allow one class of persons to choose and other states allow a different class. Each state acts as it thinks best. This choice is called an election. Question. How is it conducted? Answer. On a day fixed beforehand and publicly known, the people who are to choose and who are called voters meet at certain places called the polls. Here persons sit called inspectors, who have certain boxes called ballot boxes before them, and each person who votes puts into a hole in the top of these boxes a piece of paper with the names of the persons whom he chooses written or printed on it. These pieces of paper are afterwards examined and counted by the inspectors, who keep a written account of the names voted for and the number of votes given by the people for each. The persons having the greatest number of votes are chosen. There are some slight differences in the mode of holding elections in the different states, but it is the same in every important particular. Question. Are the times, places, and manner of holding these elections fixed by Congress? Answer. No. They have, thus far, been left to be regulated by each state for itself, but Congress may fix them if it thinks fit. Question. Suppose a dispute should arise concerning an election, and one person shall declare that he has been fairly chosen, while another denies it, and insists that he himself has been chosen. Who has the power to settle the dispute? Answer. A dispute between persons who claim a seat in the House of Representatives can be determined only by the House of Representatives. A dispute between persons claiming a seat in the Senate can be settled by the Senate only. Such disputes frequently arise. Question. When a person is chosen to be a member of the House of Representatives, how long does he continue so? Answer. For 2 years. Question. When the 2 years have expired, may he be chosen again? Answer. Yes. Question. Suppose he dies before the time is out? Answer. Another is chosen in his stead for the rest of the time. Question. How old must a person be before he can be chosen a member of the House of Representatives? Answer: 25 years old. Question: May a person be chosen who has just come into the United States and who is a subject of some other country? That means who is bound to obey the laws of some other country? Answer: No. Any person to be chosen a member of our House of Representatives must either have been born in the United States or must have been naturalized 7 years before he is chosen. Question: Naturalized? What does that mean? Answer: A person who was born in another country and comes to live in this and is not owned as a citizen of the United States till he has lived among us a certain time, and then, after knowing something of our laws and customs, has taken a solemn oath to obey the government. He is then admitted as a citizen of our republic. This is called his naturalization, and when once naturalized, he is allowed to choose the rulers and do all other things, the same as if he had been born among us. Question: May the people of one state choose a person who is an inhabitant of another state to be a member of the House of Representatives? Answer: No. He must live in the state where he is chosen. Question: How many persons may be chosen by each state as members of the House of Representatives? Answer: The number of representatives of any state is in proportion to the number of people in the state. At present, every 40,000 people send one representative, but this has been and may be altered with the increase of the number of people. Question: Some of the states have a large number of slaves living in them, and others have many Indians. Are these counted in making up the 40,000? Answer: No. 3/5 of the number of slaves is allowed. That is, every 5 slaves are counted as if they were 3 free persons. Those Indians who pay taxes, that is, who pay money for the expenses of governing and defending us, are counted. Those who do not pay taxes are not counted. Question: How is it known what number of people each state contains? Answer: Certain persons are appointed to count the people and take a written list of them. Such a counting is called a census, and it takes place once in every 10 years. In the year 1790, the United States contained 3,929,326. In 1800, 5,309,758. In 1810, 7,239,903. And in 1820, 9,638,166. Question: When the members of the House of Representatives meet to make the laws, are they all equal, or does any one preside over them? Answer: They choose one of their own number, whose duty it is to preside over them while they are met to do business, and to see that they proceed in a regular and orderly manner in doing their public duty. He is called their Speaker. They also choose a person who is not one of their own number to keep a written account from day to day of all that is done by them while assembled. That written account is called a journal of the House of Representatives, and the person who keeps it is called the Clerk of the House. They also choose another person who is called their Sergeant-at-Arms, and who may, when so ordered by the House, seize any member who disobeys the rules or who is charged by the House with any crime and imprison him. They also choose another person as their doorkeeper, who is to take care that no person be admitted into the hall where the representatives are sitting, but such as are permitted by law. These several persons, thus chosen, are called the officers of the House of Representatives, and remain in office 2 years. Question: Who choose the members of the Senate of the United States? Answer: The legislature of each state chooses the senators for that state. Question: How many senators may there be? Answer: 2 from each state. Question: When a citizen is chosen by the legislature of his own state to be a member of the Senate of the United States, how long does he continue such? Answer: For 6 years. If he dies before the expiration of that time, or resigns his office, that is, If he declares it to be his wish not to be a senator any longer, another is appointed in his place. Question. Are all senators chosen at the same time as members of the House of Representatives are? Answer. No. Only 1/3 are chosen at once. 2 years afterward, another third is chosen, and 2 years after that, another third, so that every 2 years, 1/3 of the senators go out of office, but the same persons may again be chosen if the legislatures who choose them before wish to send them again. If not, they send others in their place. Question. How old must the person be before he can be chosen a senator of the United States? Answer. 30 years old. Question. Can he be chosen if he has not been born in the United States? Answer. Yes, if he has become a citizen by being naturalized and has been a citizen for 9 years. Question. Can a senator for one state be chosen by the legislature of another state? Answer. No. The legislature of each state must choose its own senators from the persons residing in its own bounds. Question. Does the Senate choose a speaker as the House of Representatives does? Answer. No. The person who is chosen by the people to be Vice President of the United States is made, by the Constitution, President of the Senate. His duties are like those of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, except that he is not obliged to keep order in debate. Their other officers are the same in all respects as those of the House of Representatives, and are chosen by the senators in the same manner. Question. Do the senators ever sit as judges? Answer. Yes. When any civil officer of the United States, that is, not an officer of the Army, is guilty of a violation of his public duty, he is accused or charged by the House of Representatives and tried by the Senate. Such an accusation is called an impeachment. Question. What do you mean by his being tried by the Senate? Answer. The senators take a solemn oath that they will carefully attend to the proof that shall be brought before them, and according to that proof declare the accused person innocent or guilty, as the case may be. The House of Representatives appoints some of their own members to lay the proof before the Senate, and afterwards the accused person lays before them the proofs in his defense. When both have been heard, the members of the Senate vote, that is, each one declares his opinion, and if 2/3 of all the senators who are present declare the accused person to be guilty, he is adjudged guilty. If not, he is declared not guilty. Question. Cannot the Senate, in like manner, impeach, that is, solemnly charge an officer before the House of Representatives? Answer. No. None can bring an impeachment but the House of Representatives, and none can try an impeachment but the Senate. Question. What is the consequence if the Senate declare an officer of the United States to be guilty? Answer. He may be turned out of office and prevented from ever holding any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States government. Question. May he be further punished? Answer. Not by the Senate. He may afterwards be tried before a court of law and punished in the same manner as any other criminal for offenses against the law. Question. May ever the President of the United States be thus impeached and punished? Answer. Yes. In this free and happy country, no man is so great as to be above the law. The laws are supreme. To them all persons, from the President of the United States to the poorest and meanest beggar, must alike submit. This is our glory. Let every youthful American exult that he has no master but the law. Let him mark the man who would change this happy state of things as the enemy of his country, and above all let him remember that as soon as he himself breaks the law, he becomes himself that enemy. Whoever violates the law helps to weaken its force and, as far as he disobeys, does what in him lies to destroy it. But he who honors and obeys the law strengthens the law, and thereby helps to preserve the freedom and happiness of his country. In some governments it is held that the king can do no wrong. Here we know no king but the law, no monarch but the Constitution. We hold that every man may do wrong, that the higher he is in office, the more reason there is that he be obliged to answer for his conduct, and that as a great officer, if treacherous, is a great criminal, so ought to be made to suffer a great and exemplary punishment. Question. How often does Congress meet? Answer. It must meet once, at least, in every year, but may meet oftener if necessary. Question. Is any day fixed for its meeting? Answer. Yes, the first Monday in December, but it has power to alter that to some other fixed day. When Congress ceases to meet, it is said to adjourn. Question. Suppose all the members of the Senate or all the members of the House of Representatives do not attend a meeting. Can those who do not attend make laws without them? Answer. If more than one half are present, they have in most cases to do whatever the whole number could have done. More than one half are called a majority. Less than one half are called a minority. As many as are necessary to do business are called a quorum. Question. Supposing less than one half should attend, can they do nothing? Answer. Yes, they have power to send for the others and compel them to attend. If they do not choose to do this, they have power to adjourn till the next day. That is, they may separate after agreeing to meet the next day, and so they may continue to do till a quorum shall be present to do business. Question. Are there any fixed rules for doing business in Congress? Answer. Certainly. Everything is done by settled rules called rules of order. Question. Who settles what those rules shall be? Answer. The rules for the Senate are made by the Senate. The rules for the House of Representatives are made by the House of Representatives. Each House has power to alter its own rules of order, or to suspend them. That is to say, a particular rule may be disobeyed for a certain time, after which it is again in force. Question. Suppose a member refuses to attend or behaves when he does attend in a disorderly manner. Answer. He may be punished in any way the other members think proper. Question. May he even be expelled from the House, that is, turned out of it? Answer. Yes, but not unless 2/3 of all the members think he deserves it. Question. You said that the clerk of the House of Representatives keeps a written journal of all that is done in the House. Is a journal kept in like manner by the Secretary of the Senate? Answer. Yes. Question. Are those journals published? That is, printed and sold? Answer. Yes, excepting such parts as either House of Congress may think proper to keep secret for a time, when the public good requires it. Question. Do Congress ever sit in secret? Answer. Yes. Whenever they are engaged in business which it will be better for the public good to keep secret for a time, they close their doors. At other times they sit in public, and everybody who can get into the gallery may see and hear all that is done. Question. Does the journal show how each member voted in every case that came to be considered? Answer. No, but if 1/5 of the members present when any measure is proposed require that the names of those who voted for and against it be put down in the journal, it must be done. Question. After Congress has met, may either House adjourn, that is, cease to meet, for more than 3 days at a time without the consent of the other House? Answer. No. Question. Do the two houses, that is, the Senate and House of Representatives, meet in the same building? Answer. Yes. Question. May either house remove to any other place? Answer. No, not unless the other house removes too. Question. Do members of Congress receive anything for doing the business of the public? Answer. Their chief and best reward is the honor of serving their country, but as many of them cannot afford to leave their own business so often and so long without having the loss in some measure made up to them, the Constitution says that they shall be allowed a compensation to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. Question. Who fixes the rate of compensation, that is, how much the members shall have? Answer. It is fixed by Congress. Question. Ought they to be allowed to fix their own wages? Answer. It cannot be avoided. The rate must be fixed by law, and there is none who have power to make law for this country but the Congress only. Question. May members of Congress be arrested, that is, seized by a sheriff or constable, for debts they owe while they are attending to their public duty? Answer. Their duty is of so much value to us all that the Constitution will not allow them to be arrested while going and returning from their home to the place where Congress meets, nor while they are attending there, except in 3 cases. Question. What are those? Answer. If they have been guilty of treason, felony, or breach of the peace. Question. When is a person guilty of treason? Answer. When he makes war against the United States, that is, when he endeavors by force to overturn or to resist the government, or when he helps or comforts others who are making war against them. But this must be proved by at least 2 witnesses, who have both seen him do some act of treason. The crime is punished in any way Congress thinks fit, and they have determined that it shall be punished by death. Question. If members of Congress, while engaged in debate, that is, in arguing about any law that is proposed to be made, shall say anything offensive to another member, may he be sued for it by the other in a court of law? Answer. No. Lest this should destroy the freedom of debate and make the members afraid of speaking their thoughts with honesty and plainness in matters for the public good. A member cannot be called to account in any other place for anything he says upon the floor of Congress. Question. May members of Congress be appointed to any civil office under the United States? Answer. Not while they continue to be members. If they are appointed to any office and wish to accept the appointment, they must give up their seats in Congress, nor can they be chosen members again while they hold the office. Question. Supposing Congress create any new office, that is, appoint some public duty to be done and allow the person who does it a compensation, or shall increase the pay before allowed for doing the duties of any office that is already established, may any member of the Congress which did this be appointed to such office? Answer. No, not till the time for which he was chosen a member shall have expired. Question. How do Congress proceed in making laws? Answer. A member usually proposes that some other members, called a committee, shall consider whether it will not be proper to make a law for some particular matter, which he explains. If a majority of the members think it will be best to consider of the matter, they order certain members to do so. These members, or committee, meet together and, having considered the proposal, determine whether it is proper to advise the members of the House to make a law respecting it. If they think it is, they put down in writing the words of such a law as it will be best to make. This writing is called a bill. They then return to the House, and either in writing or by word of mouth declare what they have done and state the reasons for it. Such a statement is called a committee's report. The bill is then read twice. The member who first proposed the matter now further proposes, or moves, as it is called, that this bill be considered by all the members. If this is agreed to, the bill is then taken under consideration. Every member has an opportunity to propose such alterations in it as he pleases, and every member may give reasons why such a law ought or ought not to be made. If any alterations are made, the bill as altered is written over again and read a 3rd time, when, after full consideration, it is passed, that is, finally agreed to. Question. Is it now a law? Answer. By no means. The bill thus passed by one House is then sent to the other House. There it is again considered, and, if the House thinks proper, it is further altered. It is then returned to the House where it began. If this House disapproves of the alterations made by the other, it sends the bill back, that House may give up the alterations, but if they will not give them up, Then a committee of conference is appointed. That is, certain members are sent from each house to meet together and try to bring the matter into such a form that both houses will agree to it. If they succeed, and the houses agree, the bill is then engrossed, that is, copied in a fair hand on parchment and signed by the President and Secretary of the Senate and by the Speaker and Clerk of the House of Representatives. Question. Is it now a law? Answer. Not yet. The engrossed bill is then sent to the President of the United States for his approbation. If he approves it, he signs and returns it. The bill then is called an act and becomes the law of the land. Question. How if he does not approve it? Answer. If he does not approve it, he must return the bill together with his objections in writing to the house in which it began. That house must copy the whole of these objections into their journal and then consider the bill once more. When they have done this, if 2/3 of that house shall agree to pass the bill, they must send it, together with the President's objections to it, to the other house. There the bill must, in like manner, be reconsidered, and if 2/3 of this house also agree to pass it, it becomes a law. But in all such cases, the names of all the members of each house who voted for and against the bill must be put down in the journals. Answer. If he does not sign or return any bill within 10 days after it is sent to him, not counting Sundays, it becomes a law, unless in that time Congress shall have ceased to sit. Question. Is this not a better way of making the laws of a country than either of those we first considered? Answer. It is hard to conceive how greater care could be taken that no wicked, unjust, oppressive, hasty, or unwise law should pass. There is full time to consider whatever is proposed, such fair opportunity to oppose it, if wrong, and improve it, if imperfect. So many persons, and from so wide a space of country, must agree in approving it, that it is scarcely possible that anything very injurious can be enacted, or, at least, if it is, that a different form of government would have prevented it. Question. Are there not some evils which attend this mode? Answer. Nothing of human contrivance is wholly free from some defect or other, and, in time of war, when the public danger is great, and it is needful that the government should act, not only wisely but rapidly, some disadvantage may be found to arise from so deliberate a method of passing every law. But it is far better to put up with this than to lose the precious blessing of so free and safe a mode of legislation. Question. You have said that no laws can be made for the United States, but by Congress. May Congress make any laws they please? Answer. No. Their power is limited by the Constitution. That is, they have no power but what the Constitution says they have. It must always be remembered that the states, when they united to form the general government, had full power to govern themselves, and that they gave up only a part of their power for the general welfare. Whatever power, therefore, is not given by the Constitution to the general government still belongs either to the state governments or to the people of the United States. Question. What power is given to Congress by the Constitution? Answer. The Congress has power to do the following things. It may lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. Question. What do you mean by these different terms? What is a tax? Answer. A tax means a sum of money which the people are directed to pay to support the government and defense of the country. Question. What are duties? Answer. Duties are sums of money which must be paid by persons who bring goods of any kind from another country into the United States, and which are in proportion to the quantity or value of such goods. It is paid at certain places called custom houses, and is sent from these to the Treasury of the United States. Question. What are imposts? Answer. Imposts are sums of money which must be paid to the government by persons owning vessels which enter the harbors of the United States in a proportion to the size of the vessels. An impost is a duty on vessels. Question. What are excises? Answer. Excises are sums of money which must be paid to the government by persons who make certain articles within the United States in proportion to the quantity or value of the articles manufactured. Question. What do you mean by laying these, and what by collecting them? Answer. Laying a tax, etc., is determined how much it shall be, and collecting a tax, etc., is obliging the people to pay it. Question. Could any government long exist without this power? Answer. No. Every government must have large sums of money to use for the public good, and this is the proper way of getting it. Question. Ought the people to complain of having to pay taxes and duties? Answer. Certainly not, because they all receive the benefit. If nobody would pay taxes, nobody could be defended by armies, fleets, or forts. Nobody could be paid for making or for executing the laws. The whole country would soon be without law, safety, or order, and we should all be miserable. Whoever, therefore, cheats the government of its duties does in reality cheat himself and his neighbor, and acts like the enemy of his country. Question. May one part of the United States be required to pay at a greater rate than the rest? Answer. No. All duties, imposts, and excises must be uniform throughout the United States. Question. What other power has Congress? Answer. To borrow money on the credit of the United States. Question. What do you mean by that expression, on the credit of the United States? Answer. It means that the people of the United States are bound to pay whatever money Congress borrows for their use. Such money is called a loan, and whoever lends it to the government receives a printed paper acknowledging that such a sum has been lent and promising to pay a smaller sum yearly as interest for the use of it. Such printed certificates are called stock. They may be bought and sold the same as any other article, and whoever holds them when the interest becomes due may demand and must receive it. If the printed paper promises to pay $6 a year for every $100 borrowed, it is called United States 6% stock. If it promises to pay $4 a year for every 100, then it is called United States 4% stock. Question. What other power does Congress possess? Answer. It may make rules according to which the commerce of the citizens of the United States with other nations, that is, the exchange of our goods for theirs or for money by means of vessels or other conveyances, shall be carried on. Also, the commerce of one of the states with another, and that of the different states or of the United States with Indian tribes. Some persons believe that the power to regulate commerce among the several states includes the power to make roads and canals from one state to another. Others deny this. Question. What is the next power given to Congress by the Constitution? Answer. You recollect what was before said about naturalization, which means the admitting of a foreigner, that is, a native of some other country, to become a citizen of the United States. Congress has power to make one uniform rule according to which this shall be done throughout the country. It may also make uniform laws for the whole Union on the subject of bankruptcy. Question. What is bankruptcy? Answer. When a man has not money or goods enough to pay his debts, he is a bankrupt, and the being in that situation is bankruptcy. The object of laws on this subject is to compel such a man to give up all he has got to the people he owes, and to fix the terms on which he may be set free from the debts he cannot pay. Question. What else may Congress do? Answer. It may coin money, that is, it may mark or stamp certain pieces of metal in a way which shall make them pass, in buying and selling, at a set value. It may also fix what shall be the value of the coin that has been marked or stamped in any other country when it is used in the United States. It may likewise declare one uniform size for the weights and measures used throughout our country. Question. May any persons who please coin money? Answer. No, none but those employed to do so by Congress. They work at a place called the Mint. Question. If any other person shall coin money in his own name, or shall stamp it so as to resemble that coined at the Mint, or that which, though coined in other countries, is allowed to pass as money in the United States, called current coin, may be punished? Answer. Yes, it is a crime called counterfeiting, and may be punished in any manner Congress shall appoint. Question. Suppose they counterfeit not the money of the United States, but the stock issued by the government. Answer. They are punished in the same way as if they had counterfeited money. Question. What other power belongs to Congress? Answer. They may establish post offices and post roads. Question. What is a post office? Answer. A place where letters carried from one part of the country to another at the expense of the United States are received and delivered. Question. And what is a post road? Answer. A road on which the bag containing these letters, called the mail, is carried. Question. What is meant by establishing these? Answer. Making a law which directs where the post offices shall be and by what roads the mail shall be carried. Some persons say that it includes a power to erect buildings for post offices and to make roads where they are wanted. Others deny this. Question. Has Congress any further powers? Answer. It may grant what are termed patent rights and copyrights. Question. What does this mean? Answer. When a person has found out some new and useful contrivance, Congress may give him an exclusive right to make and sell what he has contrived for a certain number of years. During that time, nobody else may make or sell that article without leave from the man who contrived it, and if they do, they are liable to be punished. This is called a patent right. Whoever writes a book may also have the exclusive right to print and sell it for a certain time. This is called a copyright. Question. Can Congress erect courts, that is, make a law directing that a judge shall sit at certain places at certain times before whom causes or criminals shall be tried? Answer. Yes, it may appoint as many courts as it thinks fit, but they must all be inferior to the great court of the country called the Supreme Court of the United States. Question. Can it punish piracy, that is, robbery committed at sea? Answer. Yes, and all other crimes committed there. It can also punish offenses against the law of nations. Question. What do you mean by the law of nations? Answer. I mean those rules which are agreed upon among all nations, except those who are savages, to regulate their conduct towards each other. Question. Has Congress any other power? Answer. Yes, it has one most solemn and important power, the power of declaring war between the United States and any other nation. Question. When Congress has declared the United States to be at war with any particular country, can any of the citizens of the United States remain at peace with that nation? Answer. No. However much they may dislike the war or love the nation against whom it is declared, all must, when required, aid in it by their money or their services, and bring it as soon as possible to a successful end. If they attempt to aid the enemy or forcibly hinder the success of the war, they commit treason. Question. When the United States have cause of complaint against another nation, and yet do not wish at once to go to war, is there any other measure they can take to compel that nation to do them justice? Answer. Yes. Congress may issue letters of marque and reprisal. Question. What are they? Answer. They are certain public letters directed to merchants of the United States who have been injured and have been refused redress, permitting them forcibly to take vessels belonging to the offending nation sufficient to make up the loss, but this must be done only according to certain rules fixed by Congress. Question. You say Congress may declare war. Can they raise armies? That is, can they hire soldiers to fight for the country? Answer. They can, and pay, clothe, and feed them at the public expense. Question. Can they make a law setting apart money enough at one time to pay and support the army for more than 2 years? Answer. No, not at one time, lest the wicked Congress might, by keeping up an army, remain in power beyond the time for which they were chosen, and so destroy the liberty of their country. Question. Why was the time limited to 2 years? Answer. Because every 2 years a new Congress may be chosen. Question. Can Congress in like manner provide and maintain a navy, that is, buy or build ships of war, and hire, clothe, and feed men to navigate and fight them? Answer. Yes, and make rules to govern both army and navy. Question. Has the country no other defense to depend upon but hired soldiers? Answer. Yes. The people themselves, who are of a proper age to bear the fatigues and hardships of war, are obliged to bear arms and defend their country when need requires. They are called the militia. Question. When may they be called out to do this? Answer. When they are wanted, to enforce the laws, to overcome any of their fellow citizens who are so foolish and wicked as to rebel against our free and excellent form of government, or to meet and drive out an enemy who invades, that is, forcibly enters any part of our country. Question. But as the great mass of people are ignorant of the art of war, how is this to be done? Answer. Congress has power to provide for their being taught by collecting and arranging them in companies and regiments under their own officers, supplying them with arms, and causing them to be properly exercised in their use. Question. May Congress command them, or are they to be commanded by their own state governments? Answer. The President may command so many of them as are employed in the service of the United States. The rest are commanded by the states. Question. Who appoints the officers of the militia? Answer. The state governments. They also train, that is, exercise and instruct the men, but this must be done according to the rules fixed by Congress. Question. Have you mentioned all the powers of Congress? Answer. No. They have power to make all the laws for a certain district, not more than 10 miles square, where Congress meets, and where the chief officers of the government reside. This is called the seat of government. Question. Has this district no legislature of its own choice, as the states have? Answer. No. Question. Is it part of any state? Answer. No. It consists of territory, which the states have given up for the express purpose that it might be the seat of the general government. The territory at present used for this purpose is called the District of Columbia, and has been ceded, that is, given up, by the states of Maryland and Virginia, within which it before lay. Question. Is there any other place in the United States which is thus ruled by Congress alone? Answer. Yes. All forts, magazines, that is, places where powder and other things used by an army are laid up, arsenals, that is, buildings where arms are kept, and dockyards, that is, places where vessels of war are built, which belong to the United States, are governed not by the legislatures of the states in which they may be, but by the general government alone. Question. What other power is conferred by the Constitution upon the Congress of the United States? Answer. A very large and general authority to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, that is, all the other powers of which we have been speaking, and all other powers vested by the Constitution in the government of the United States, or in any department or officer thereof. Thus, for example, when the Constitution says that Congress may coin money, that gives Congress power to make all the laws necessary to determine what the coin shall be, how they shall be marked, of what metal they shall be made, what shall be their weight, what shall be their value, where they shall be made, what buildings shall be erected for the purpose, how many persons shall be employed, what their duty shall be, what pay they shall receive, what account they shall keep, what security they shall give, and how they shall be punished if they neglect their duty. It is the same with every other power given by the Constitution. If its execution requires 100 different laws, Congress may pass them all. End of Section 1, Part 1.